Hey guys, this is a market update. In this video, we're going to go over a lot of data regarding how crypto is trading right now and all of the on-chain so that you know how to make some decisions here. We're pretty much at an all-time high at this point. We're actually trading right now above the close of the previous monthly candle. So this is one of the largest candles ever in Bitcoin's history. This is actually insane at this point. It's pretty crazy. This green box up here is resistance. You can see that. We're clearly in some sort of huge repricing of the asset. We were waiting for this. The whole thing, the whole narrative for, the last year has been Grayscale won the case, BlackRock have applied for the ETF, that's happening. And of course, we wanted the flows to come in and they have come in. So we can see all of that data. There's no point doing any technical analysis at this point. We are in the crazy part of the cycle. It's not really much to do analysis on because we're in price discovery. Above this price, there is no precedent, so there's no technical analysis you can do. Things are going to get really volatile right now because we're now trading on news flow, money flows, FOMO. So things are going to get really, really unpredictable. And there's going to be some drops for sure, 20% drops intraday. It's going to get extremely unpredictable. So at this point, you're making profits from the stuff that you've bought over the last 18 months. Like we've been saying on this channel the whole entire time, this is when you actually make money for the cycle. This right here, the cycle is just playing out at this point, right? So each $1,000 that we go higher, the risk reward for this cycle gets worse and worse and worse. So we're still pretty early in my opinion, but the risks are going up because this price discovery is happening and it's going to continue for a while in my opinion with extreme volatility. You saw what happened here in the previous, bull market, huge drawdowns, news flow, things that are happening. And because prices are moving so much to the upside as well, people are leveraging. This is when people get caught on the wrong side as well. So for me, it's actually better maybe just to take a step back and really understand where you are in the cycle and if you are happy either buying or selling at these prices. So we'll have a look at that. If you do trade, big deposit bonus on Bybit up to 30,000. Click the link down in the description. You can see if that's available for you. We're getting into the silly part of the cycle. A lot of people in the private Discord server have been asking me, is this cycle playing out earlier? So are we going to play out earlier? We're going to rise earlier and then maybe fall earlier. So here's some thoughts on that. The private Discord groups are in the crypto course. I'll link it down below as well so you can come and chat to all of us in there. So you can see we are moving way earlier than previous cycles. This candle has really broken us through that the last few weeks. So usually you have the halving, which are these blue events, and then you actually kind of grind higher over time. And you have the big move within about a 6-month period after the halving. That seems not to be taking place at this point. We've never been in this scenario before where we've actually broken through this midline before the halving. So the ETFs are obviously, well, if you look at the data, the ETFs are the most successful product ever launched in terms of trading volumes and amount coming in here. We'll have a look at that data in a second. But yeah, this is the silly point of the cycle. But really important if you're looking to allocate or maybe take profits or anything, it really just comes down to this long-term trend for Bitcoin. So for me personally, anything under this midline is buy zone. It's usually a bear market or a consolidation or a fall away from all-time highs. So anything under this for me is just an automatic buy zone. Anything up here, you're starting to consider where you are, right? So if you are looking to take some profits or if you're overexposed in some way and you think, I actually just really need some cash to, fund my liabilities for the next few years, this is when you start to make those decisions if it's appropriate for you. I still think we're very early in this because we've got this blue line to get up to, right? So that could happen in the next 2 or 3 candles. It could happen over the next 6, 8, 10, 12 months. Nobody can know that or try and predict that. But the levels that I play off are, if the price is up here at this blue level, that is an area where Bitcoin is really, really overbought in relation to its long-term trend. And those long-term trends really do matter. On-chain data is not telling us that we're very, very overdone in this cycle, and that's because we aren't. You've seen the price, we're still near the midline, so we're not up at that point. 150 that would be way overbought, and the on-chain would tell us that. But for right now, speculation is coming back, and we seem to be rising a lot faster than before. That can be down to the ETFs. It can be down to the fact that everyone knows what Bitcoin and crypto is at this point. So there's no discovery to be had, right? People have accounts already. They come back. So these things happen a lot faster. But MVRV is the way that you can see if we're peaked in a cycle. Each time MVRV peaks right up here, the orange line, that's the peak of a cycle. You can see that topping, I think it's around 6 or 7. So here, when MVRV really peaks up, that is massively overdone. You can see that in the previous cycle here as well. It got to around 4.8 or 5. You can see that. And then in the previous bull market, it got to a much lower level, around 3, something like that. We are at 2.14 right now, according to Glassnode. Still like towards the bottom half of MVRV. So as we reach up to like 3 or 4, that's when you start to say, okay, this thing's towards the top end, but we're not near that yet for MVRV. So Onchain is still telling us that, you know, we've got a long way to go to be kind of overbought. If you are trading a cycle, you know, you want to sell the overbought bits, and we're not there on MVRV. This is MVRV on Look Into Bitcoin as well. It's a little bit different in what it's giving us. It's giving us, I think, around a 2.21. So again, anything down here is smash buy. Anything up here above kind of 5 or 6, you're getting into very, very late stage. Again, we're nowhere near that at this point. I want to put this in as well, just as context, because crypto quants have a slightly different way of calculating this. And in the previous 2 cycles, MVRV only got up to around 3.8, something like that. And we are around 2.5 according to Crypto Quant on their analysis as well. This shows us that we might be a little bit later in the move than the other metrics that MVRV show us. Again, still not at the top of the cycle, right? So what we're seeing for MVRV, if it goes up to like 3.8 or 4 here in the previous, and then here in the previous, again, we're not there yet, but certainly, I mean, look at the price, right? We're not early cycle anymore. You're not getting the best prices. Every $1,000 Bitcoin goes higher in price, the risk reward gets worse and worse and worse. So you make your buys and your investments at the bottom of each cycle, not the top. And so just to see where we are, right? We are coming into mid-stage bull market, and everything is showing us that. When funding is this high, which is in yellow, you know, that shows us that the market is massively leveraged. So basically people are seeing that the market is going up and they're just piling in with leverage. And what happens when the market gets over leveraged is you get a leverage flush, because everyone is borrowing money to go long. And so at some point, everyone's just overexposed, over leveraged, over bullish, and you start to get some sales. People are leveraged, and so they start to get liquidated, or they're, you know, hot on the trigger and they sell. That's a liquidation cascade. They do happen. They will happen in this bull market because the market's getting over its skis, right? Yellow is pretty dangerous, right? You're seeing funding rates really big, right? Bitcoin funding rates were 87%. This is insane, right? So you can see these flushes happen when leverage builds up in yellow. You get these flushes. That's when the price flushes everyone out, flushes all the leverage out. So just be aware of that. You know, if you are looking to FOMO in or whatever, you know, buying dips is essentially when everyone gets flushed out on leverage. And then you can say, okay, I'm still in a buy zone, and now is actually when I can start to get in. So, or you can just dollar cost average through. But, you know, what we're seeing is probably a little bit of FOMO, which makes me more and more uncomfortable as the price gets higher. Bitcoin is now a top 10 valued asset, but more importantly, it's the only asset in the top 10 that can possibly have outsized growth, which is why I believe you're seeing this much interest and investment flows into it. So if we look at the top 10 assets, you have gold at number 1, which is 13 trillion. And despite the monopoly that is American tech, and, you know, the fact that they pretty much outperform everything else, they've been responsible for all of the outperformance of stock markets over the last generation. They still can't get anywhere near gold. And that's because a company doesn't have the capital structure to produce that type of valuation. A company has to be valued on its ability to increase its cash flows at or above the rate of inflation or currency debasement. Now, tech companies are the best at doing that. However, they can only be valued on that. And the way that they produce scarcity is using those cash flows to buy back their stocks. And so the stock is scarce and it doesn't increase in amount. Although lots of insiders will obviously exercise their options to take their money out. But the capital structure of a company cannot produce a market cap anywhere near gold. The only thing in the top 10 that can have outsized growth is this thing right here, right? Because if you think about it, you have gold, which is a store of value asset, okay, 13 trillion. Then you have tech, energy, tech, commodity, tech, and Bitcoin is technology, energy, money, store of value. So it's the only thing in the top 10 that can have inflation adjusted outsized returns. Purchasing power outsized returns, it's the only thing that can have the outsized return there versus anything else. Nvidia has done extremely well as well, right? I'm not saying these technology companies are bad. In fact, these are the best things to invest in. You're seeing that because they are the performance in the market. They're great. But in terms of outsized returns, over the next 20 years, there's only one thing that could possibly have that, and Bitcoin is there. And so that's why people are getting into it. The only risk now is that maybe it just doesn't work out. But after 15 years and it's now integrated into BlackRock, seems fairly unlikely. The risk reward's pretty decent on a long-term time frame here, in my opinion. But obviously short-term, very volatile. In terms of this as well, Bitcoin has been doing very well, but so has Ethereum. So this white line, the last time Bitcoin was at 60 odd thousand at this level back in 2021 bull market, that's where the Bitcoin ETH cross was. It was trading around 0.03. So Ethereum was valued a lot less than it is now last time Bitcoin was at this price. This is where we are now. So Ethereum has actually gained value in relation to Bitcoin over this cycle. The last time Bitcoin was here, ETH was much cheaper. Now ETH is a lot more expensive. It's actually showing you that Ethereum is actually very, very slowly taking a valuation out of Bitcoin even. As Bitcoin potentially slows here a little bit, Ethereum may slow as well in terms of its growth percentage each year, but it's very, very strong. I have no idea what this is going to play out as. This is a very, very long-term rising wedge or rising triangle, typically a bullish pattern in uptrends, which you see here. So the uptrend of lows is getting higher and higher, typically very bullish. I don't know because of, we're so early in this, kind of industry. I don't know if it's going to top out at these levels. You could see in the last bull market, it really got sold off around this level. But obviously you'd have to break through that if Ethereum was going to actually become number one. So if Ethereum is going to become number one, it would have to break through here. And I'm not sure if that's going to, I just don't know if that's going to happen. But Ethereum is over time actually accruing a lot of value versus BTC as well. So very interesting. If you are coming back into crypto and looking to trade, or you're new to crypto and altcoins are pumping and you want to get in those, you really need to look at altcoins valued in Bitcoin and ETH. Those are the fundamental investable assets. Those are monies, and most other stuff just isn't. It's a tech play or it's a speculation. And mostly when prices are up here, that's when people get wrecked. Now, there's a lot of opportunity for sure short term. I get that. And everyone can have their 10% degen bag. But Bitcoin and ETH are the monies, and they can actually get much higher over time, whereas altcoins eventually fail. Or I should say a lot of the rubbish like meme coins and stuff. Look at the meme coin or altcoin that you're investing in versus Bitcoin or ETH. You can do the altcoin and then just put either BTC, you can do that with TradingView or Bybit, value it in ETH or Bitcoin. It gives you a much better idea of the actual strength of that asset. Dogecoin up 50% this week, which is this candle right here. But you can see it's just absolutely losing value versus Bitcoin over time. It's gone nowhere basically, right? You had this last bull market. People think that they can maybe trade this and it's going to go up. I get that. That may happen, but you don't want to own it, right? Like, you don't want to own that. Why would you own Doge? Yes, it's a speculation. So trade it as a speculation, but you don't own that asset. right? It's not a house. It's not Bitcoin. You don't own that thing. So just be aware of what these things are, because I don't want people to get wrecked. I want people to actually invest in these assets, which could set you up solid base for the rest of your life. So I think that anyway. A lot of people say Bitcoin, Ether are going to fail or whatever. I disagree with them. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm right. If you do trade, check out Bybit. Link down below for deposit bonus. Crypto investor course as well. You can come and chat to me in the private Discord groups. I'm James. It's MoneyZG. Cheers for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.